Hello, welcome to Results May Vary and my very first painting tutorial. Today we're going to be painting Jaime Lannister the hostage from a Song of Fire and Ice miniature games by Cool Mini or Not. To start off, we're going to start off painting the face. We'll be putting some beige red on there, like so. Okay, and then after we get a couple thin coats of beige red on there, we're going to want to put on some thin Reichian flesh shade. I'm going to do both the hands and the face here, or the hand. Only one poor guy has left. And remember, you always want to be using thinned out paints here. It's better to always put on a couple layers of thin paint than it is one thick paint. Okay, and after we let that dry for a couple minutes, we'll come back and put some more beige red back on there. And try and just put it on the raised areas, keeping most of the shadows in place. Okay, after we get that base color put back on there, we're going to come up with a 50-50 of our beige red and basic skin tone to do a little highlight. And remember, you just want to do a little bit on the raised areas, leaving the darkest areas with the previous color. So we're just going to hit his cheeks, his nose, his forehead, and his knuckles here. And we'll do a little bit of his fingers. Okay, and after we get that 50-50 mix on there, we're going to come back with a straight basic skin tone. And again, we're just going to touch some of the major high areas. The forehead, the nose, and the cheeks. Just to bring them up a little bit. And again, we'll hit his knuckles. Fingers. Okay, next we're going to work on his hair. To his hair, we will put on Vallejo Model Air US Sand. Remember, we want to do thin coats here. I'll probably take 2 or 3 to cover up his hair, so just take your time. Make sure your paints are thin, and do your best not to spill on the face, the areas we've already painted. Okay, and after we get a couple thin coats of the brown on there, we'll come in with some Agrex Earth Shade and knock it down. Put some depth to it. Just remember not to let it pull too much in one area. If it is, just wipe your brush off a little bit, come back and mop that stuff up. And do your best to stay away from the face as best as you can. Don't forget to get the beard. And we'll let that dry and we'll be right back. Okay, and after that's dry, we can come back with our original Vallejo Model Air US Sand. Just kind of dry brush it back over best you can. Try and not cover up too much of the shade we put on. Just pick up those edges. Going for a real dirty look here with him. After all, he is a maimed prisoner. Okay, and we'll be right back. After that, you can come back with some a mixture of the Vallejo Model Air US Sand and Vallejo Model Color Dark Sand, and just try and pick out some of those strands. Hair. We can get some focus here. I don't want to go too heavy, just pretty light. Just try and pick out some strands to bring some of that blonde or brownish blonde hair that he has back up. Remember, these are really thinned paints we're using here, so it won't cover very deeply the first time. Okay, and after you do some of those strands, we can come back. This time we'll use just straight dark sand. Just try and pick out more towards the top of the crown. So that's where the most light's going to be showing on him. And again, these are really thinned out paints, so just take your time, do a few coats, try and hit the same areas that you hit the first time. Next, we're going to work on his cape, and for his cape we're going to be using Vallejo Model Color Green Brown. And as always, remember to just thin your paints down, take your time. You'll probably need about 2 or 3 even coats of this. So okay, and after you get a couple layers of that built up, we're going to go over with some Agrex Earthshade. And remember you're going to want to thin down your shade and never apply it straight from the pot, because you always risk the chance of spilling those things. They spill very easily. So we just want to make sure we get a nice buildup of shade on the outside and on the inside. Don't let it pull up too much in any area. You know, she'll get coffee stains, and that we don't want. Okay, after we let that shade dry a little while, we can come back again with our original green brown and start picking out some of those raised areas. Bring the color back up. Remember, leave the recessed areas. Just do your best to take your time and bring that color back up. And after that, we'll come back, we'll add some more green brown, and I'm going to add a little hemp to it, Vallejo Model Air hemp. See if we can't bring it up just a little bit higher. And we're going to leave most of the recesses in place and just try and hit the highest edges. We'll see how that looks when we're done. So I didn't like how that was coming out, so what I did was I went back in there and I added in a little bit of Vallejo Model Air light brown to it. It gave me just that little bit I felt like I needed to get those top edges done. These are very thin coats we're putting on, so you can almost go over this multiple times until you get the color ratio that you're looking for, because they're so thin you'll never even notice how many are there. So right now I think I probably have about 10 coats of like 3 mixtures, 10 or more. You can't even tell, really. So once again, just take your time, bring out those top edges, make sure your paints are thin, take your time. Okay, once we get the bottom of the cloak done, we'll come back and do the top of the cloak. We're going to be starting off with Vallejo game color leather brown. And again, these are really thinned out paints, so it may take a couple tries, even though this is a very thick paint. Very opaque in color. Take your time and just go all the way around the top of the cloak. Okay, after we get that done, we'll add a little bit of Vallejo game color leather brown to our model color leather brown. And we'll just work on the top edges of the leather. Try and leave some of those recessed areas with that darker color. And we'll work our way all around this thing, bringing it up in color. Oops. And after we get that done, we can come back with some straight Vallejo game color leather brown. Work on the tops of the shoulders, the tops of the back. Remember just to leave those darkest recesses alone. Okay, after we get that done, come back with some light brown and just hit all these stitches real lightly. Okay, for the shirt, I've chosen to go with an English uniform. Just trying to keep with these brown colors, because you gotta remember that although Jaime is a Lannister, that he is also a prisoner, and he's gonna be rather dirty. Probably took away all his fancy clothes and gave him some ugly brown stuff to wear, just to bring him down a little bit in stature. We cannot have a fancy Kingslayer as a prisoner. Okay, and after that, come back with just some straight light brown. Just dot some of these higher areas. And give it some pop, just a little bit. Not too much, though. Okay, and continuing with our dirty colored Jaime, we're gonna do his pants in a Vallejo Model Air dark earth color. And just get it up. And this is still a thinned out paint, so it'll probably take 2 coats to get this on there, even though it's pretty dark already. And this, do your best not to get it on the cape that we've already finished, or his shirt. And like I said, it's probably going to take 2 coats, so take your time. Okay, into our Vallejo color dark earth, we are going to add a little bit of Vallejo Model Air tan earth. Bring those pants up. Now we just want to hit the top sections, leaving the deepest recesses. That way we get a nice background color on this. We don't have to bother with shading. Work on that, and I'll be right back. Okay, and adding to that tan earth mixture, we're just going to do straight tan earth this time. Come back and just hit the creases, the top of the folds, not too much, just a little bit down the center of the leg there. And don't forget about these stitches over here. You're going to want to do those in a lighter color, probably a light brown to match the stitches that we did on the top. Okay, and for the chains, just want to get a little bit of silver. Not too much on your brush, or kind of like, you kind of like want to do an overbrush here. Just lightly go over it, leave the black in the background. And wait, you don't have to add any shade or anything to it. And for the sling and the wrap, we want to use a light brown. And after we get that light brown on there, we're going to use an Agrex Earth shade to dirty it up. And then we will come back with some Screaming Skull. See if we can't lighten it up, make it look more bandaged. And after that, we're going to add some red ink to the end of it, where the stump should be bleeding. Okay, we got the Agrex Earth shade on there and dried. And we're going to come back with that Screaming Skull. Pick out this wrap he's got going on here. Bring it up in color. Just remember to leave the recesses of this thing. And then after this, we'll be putting some red ink on it, and we're almost done. We just have to finish the shoes here. Okay, for this belt, this little pouch down here, we'll be using some Beastie Brown. And on top of that, we'll be putting some leather brown. The highlight. And for the buckle, we'll just be using some silver. Alright, just take your time, don't get it on the pants. Okay, so for the boots, we're going to leave them brown or black, and then give the straps the same treatment that we gave the belt up here. We're going to start off with Beastie Brown and then go to a leather brown. Okay guys, here's the finished product. As you can see, I try to keep with the more brown tones, as we're dealing with a prisoner who's probably not been showering or cleaning his clothes, changing his clothes. And I also admit there's some focusing issues with the video, but as this is my very first tutorial, my main goal is just to get it done and over with. You know, kind of get the stage fright out of it, as you can say. But if you liked it and you want to see more, please like and share my channel and the video. And I'll be doing some more Song of Fire and Ice, also some Star Wars Imperial Assault, and maybe some Warhammer 40k in the future. And once again, thanks for watching.